Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Script Note Show. I'm your host, Matt Tillman. Hopefully, the past week has found you doing well with all your finances as we start to wrap up almost another month here with August starting to wind down. Hopefully, no matter where you're listening from in whatever part of the world or country, everything's going well in your life. And so, with today's episode, just wanted to kind of touch upon another topic that came up as it relates to if you're possibly considering changing your career or not, or even in this instance, going back for even more education. As you might recall, in I think it was episodes 8 and 11, we kind of talked about this. So if it's still something you might be interested in submitting some of your own stories, we'd love to hear them and would love to share them with everyone else. But with today, we're going to kind of cover what to think about if you're thinking of continuing your education, particularly from the financial side. So, um, just wanted to share this week's excerpt from Jonathan Pond's Ponderings. He says, obtaining more education is usually a good thing, but it does have financial implications, or else I wouldn't bring it up. Education, particularly adult continuing education, but also degree programs, can be acquired either for consumption or investment. So think about that when you're possibly thinking of going back to school or changing jobs. Are you doing it from the sense of consumption, or are you making an investment? So he gives the example, although I might not totally agree with it. Taking an art criticism course would be classified as consumption unless you're in the art business. Consumption makes you a better rounded and perhaps more interesting person, but probably not a more economically valuable person. On the other hand, additional coursework in your chosen field of study is hopefully an investment in a more lucrative financial future. So the reason I probably don't totally agree with that is I think of my own personal background with having started in theater, and I still feel the skills I picked up from that education when it comes to communication, especially in the business world, has definitely proved invaluable. So everybody's going to have their own experiences. So just, keep that in mind. He continues, if you're thinking of a career change that is going to require a considerable amount of formal education, you need to consider the economic potential of leaving your current career in favor of a new one. It's fine if you move into a less lucrative career if you understand that in advance. For example, perhaps you're tired of the drudgery and stress in your job as an engineer earning six figures. You dream of getting into psychology or teaching, both of which would require a lot of full-time college work. You certainly need to factor in the income hit you'll be taking in the future on top of the financial sacrifice of returning to school. You also need to be realistic about the job prospects when you complete your schooling. In the above example, psychology jobs may be scarce, while teaching jobs are likely to be more plentiful with attractive fringe benefits to boot. So I thought there was, a lot of good feedback to think about, especially when it comes to if you're thinking of maybe continuing in your education. Before you make that leap, like anything else in life, just make sure you do your proper research and you'll be just fine, especially if it makes you happy, because that's definitely what counts. So, with that, have a couple other money tips for this Monday. If you have some kiddos in your life, definitely you always want to set a good example for them when it comes to money. It's not easy raising children, and certainly has never been, but it seems to be harder now than it was for earlier generations. While there are far more important child rearing responsibilities, the one Jonathan mentions that he'd like to proffer is to strive to set a good financial example for children and other younger generation family members in your life, such as being prudent in the way you spend, save, and invest your money. That's the best thing you can do to increase the odds that your children will grow up to be financially responsible adults. And as a parent myself, especially with a little one, it's never truer that they are always watching you, and no matter what you do in life. And as a parent, it's definitely your number one responsibility to make sure to set a good example. So if you've got some kiddos in your life, be it your own or nieces or nephews, that's the best thing you can do. And like anything in life, just lead by example. And then finally, if you're having trouble paying your bills, a recent study indicates that a quarter of American families currently have trouble paying their bills on time. Whatever the cause of financial predicament for you or a family member, as hard as it may be, the best thing to do is to contact the lenders before they contact you. They may be able to devise a plan to help you better afford to pay your credit card and other bills. You might be encouraged to speak with a credit counselor, but be sure to contact a legitimate credit counseling organization. As many of us know from what we've seen in other headlines, sadly, there are many who purport to be credit counselors, including most who advertise on television, but who do nothing more than wreak further havoc on your predicament. To find a worthy credit counselor, make sure you contact the National Foundation for Credit Counseling at www.n as in Nancy, F as in Frank, CC as in Charlie.org. That's www.nfcc.org. We'll put a link to there in the show notes as well. So make sure you reach out to them if you are struggling. Don't be afraid to reach out. It's better to, even to just talk to someone about what might be going on in that regard. It's better to talk than to keep it all in there. So, with that, hopefully this has been helpful to you all out there. Thank you again, as always, for continuing to listen to the show. Would again like to remind that if you do feel in your heart's desire to continue to support the show, we now have a way to do so. So make sure to click the listener support feature button if you're listening in Anchor or Breaker, or I think Radio Public is another app that supports the feature. Otherwise, there should be a link to it in the show notes as well. Just want to thank all of you. Continue to financially support the show. It's just been so amazing to see it continue to grow, and as we can try and get our message out there to help others out. And if you're open to it, we'd greatly appreciate it. I believe one of the tiers is probably less than even a cup of Starbucks cup of coffee. So we definitely appreciate any support, and definitely spread the word about the show for anybody else who you think might benefit or would like to get involved. Definitely let us know. And we are also on Apple Podcasts now. I know that's one of the, if not the biggest platform for podcasts out there. So make sure you download and subscribe. And if you like what you're hearing, if you could leave us a 5-star review, we definitely appreciate it, as it only kind of help us to be able to spread our message more. With that, we'll be going on vacation for a little bit this week. So maybe a little bit till we can get back behind the microphone here. So in the meantime, have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon. See ya.